Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It is Friday, the 20th of August, and it is time for your big match preview. As is always the case on the Just Joe Football Show, the day before the big match, we preview the next game. And I'm going to be doing this with a guest moving forward. And what a guest I've got to start it off with as well. The Mac is back, return of the Mac. It's one I'm excited to do, and I hope you guys are excited to watch. It is, of course, Conor No, it's not Conor Gallagher. I'm joking. It's not. It is one Conor Mcgilligan from the One Leeds football channel. So, yeah, his link is in the description. So make sure you check that out. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. And this is the moment when I take a stand. Right then, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'm back with the main man, Mr. Conor Mcgilligan from One Leeds. How are you doing, mate?
All right, mate. This has to become more regular, doesn't it? I feel like this is going to get views.
100%. I hope so, mate. You'll have to tell me how to do them decent thumbnails, and then it might. And get one of your face like this and one of mine like that, and then we might do all right.
The right collage, doesn't it?
Yeah. Honestly, I've been wanting to do this for such a long time. If I do say so myself, it's great to be able to have you back on, mate, and have a chat about everything Leeds United. I have put the link to One Leeds in the description as well. You're probably already watching him. If we're being honest, if you're watching me, you're probably watching him. You come to me when he hasn't put a video out. I think that's what the script is.
I'm happy to be. This is why I love being back, Joe. This is what we've missed.
Yeah, exactly, mate. Exactly. But let's start, mate. Obviously, we're going to chat about Everton. We'll go into them in a little bit more detail and what things look like for Leeds in terms of starting 11 and stuff for the weekend. But let's just start first of all with being back at Ellen Road. Just before you came on, mate, I had a check, and it's actually 532 days since that Huddersfield game when Bill Ayling put that beauty in. And, you know, it's not even just that. It's 16 long years as well since we've had a capacity crowd back in the Premier League. I mean, I was lucky enough to be at that West Brom game, but it's just going to fail in comparison to this. I mean, how excited are you to be back at Ellen Road, mate, on Saturday?
Yeah, buzzing, pal. I think it was at the weekend when we played that lot. And in all fairness, and I hate saying this, but the atmosphere was unbelievable. And obviously that was from the Leeds fans as well, of course it was. But they were right up for it, weren't they? All that lot. And it just shows. I spoke to a guy earlier on about Everton as well, and he was saying that Goodison massively helped them. Like, it was just roaring on. I see Leeds and Everton as quite similar clubs, to be honest. I think the Premier League don't understand what's coming with Leeds. I think they've got a taste of it at the weekend in terms of the fans. But when they see this home atmosphere for, let's be right, mate, I mean, 36,000, nowhere near the biggest in the Prem, but the noise we make when we're up for it, and when we're always up for it, is going to be unbelievable. And it's like the ones we've lost as well. We spoke about it, I spoke about it the other day. The ones we've lost, it's been unbelievable, hasn't it? Like, even just, I saw, see on the Man United billboard, it even focused in on like Zaliukas, and I completely forgot about Zaliukas. Like, it's like Bill Fotherby, etc., etc. So I think it's going to be emotional, mate. I think I'm going to look left, I'm going to look right in the ground. I reckon there'll be a few tears. And someone said it as well. Like, imagine if you were a season ticket holder, obviously like yourself, and you look sort of left, look right, and there were bodies missing, and there were people missing, people who have maybe passed on, who can't be there because of illness, COVID, and stuff like that. So it's going to be dead emotional, mate. Really emotional.
I know. I heard that as well, mate. But you're right, because I just think then about John and his daughter Kim and those that stand in front of me, and there's a couple of Lee at the side there, and imagine you go and it's like, oh, where's John? Wow, that would be intense. Actually, the more you think about it, it's quite a sobering thought. I don't know if you've seen this as well, Conor. I mentioned it on the Daily Leeds yesterday. That the Premier League are actually putting in place now a purple zone after the Man United game, the abuse that some of the players got, i.e. Rio, etc. And apparently BT got a lot of complaints that they couldn't hear Mason Greenwood in his post-match interview. So the Premier League, genuinely, the Premier League are on about creating a purple zone, which will be in the tunnel, so the interviews and stuff will be done in the tunnel as opposed to pitch side. And I laughed because I was like, we've been back one game to full capacity crowds, and they're already like, we can't do interviews, we can't do them.
Relegate Leeds, get rid of the fans.
Yeah. And I just thought, last season we were everyone's second favourite team. And I said it so long. As soon as fans back in the ground, that will change, won't it?
Oh, mate, 100. Yeah, you bang on. It's a really good point, actually. I think our fans, I mean, coined the phrase, we're piss takers, aren't we? And even the Sancho Rashford chant that started going. I was just laughing, like, and people take it so seriously, like everyone in the ground, oh, disgusting, dirty scum Leeds fans, and obviously the other chants which were unsavoury, which shouldn't have happened. But the Sancho and Rashford is a bit of banter, but mate, there's so many snowflakes in the Premier League now because it's been satirised by tourism and commercial and all this sort of stuff. So this is what I mean. Leeds being back there, it's going to be an absolute firecracker up teams' arses. I'm telling you, and Everton as well. What a good team to welcome to Ellen Road. Proper support, and I think it's going to be a real occasion, mate. Definitely.
Yeah, I think just before we move on to Everton, the fan thing, like I was lucky enough to be on the Don Robbie YouTube channel at the weekend, and obviously took an absolute pasting, which was difficult. But then right at the end, BT shot to that guy with the half and half scarf, and I just turned around and went, I don't even care anymore. That's what's in your ground. It doesn't even matter because that's who supports your club.
And Joe, I bet they all in the studio where you're at, I bet they all turned around and were sort of looking at you a bit like, because it's normal. Because it's normal. You'll see Arsenal play Leeds. I remember in that FA Cup time, there was Arsenal Leeds flags. It's madness, mate. Madness.
Yeah, it is. You're right. Because I did that. I did that thing you should never do and checked the comments. And there was a few people in the comments saying, "What's she talking about? There's no. Of course, every ground's got half and half." And I was like, "Yeah, it doesn't make it right." But I just was like, "Why have I checked these comments?"
Is there any at Ellen Road? Like on the corner when there's the scarf guy? Does he sell half and halves?
I don't think so, mate. I remember the Patrick. Was it Patrick Bamford? But it were. The first name was wrong, wasn't it? Patrick. Do you remember
was it Patricia?
Patricia Bamford, aye. Hey, God. Just while we're on Bamford as well, signed a new deal, which is great to hear. All this talk about Tottenham. I mean, I got stick for this in comments on my video, but I was like, no disrespect to Bamford. If Spurs were genuinely looking at him as a replacement for Harry Kane, there's something not right. I said he's not a top 6 striker, and I got stick for it. But I agree. There's no way Bamford comes in to replace Harry Kane's 40-goal a season over all competitions, is there?
No, I mean, me and you have done stuff before, mate. And in the Championship, obviously, when we did loads of stuff, I was very... this guy can't finish. He's doing my head in. And I've come round to Bamford massively now. Like, I think the Premier League almost suits him more. It's unbelievable. I think the instinctive chances he gets is much more beneficial to him in the Premier League. So he doesn't have to think about it as much. Whereas in the Championship, like the crowd would get on his back, etc., etc. But yeah, in terms of him going to Tottenham, he's been made at Leeds. And I think Bamford knows that. Like, he knows that he's got a manager who fully believes in him, coaching staff, players around him, and he's the number one man, isn't he? He's the number one man. Like, he's the one who we look to. If he goes to Tottenham, they won't play the same way, the same style, the same formation, the same intensity. So him just being a complete lone striker there and having to learn every other individual's game, that's not going to be great for him. He's improved as a player, but it's a massive risk, isn't it? Going to another club. So basically, we might as well just tie him down for another 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. And you're right, though, mate, because we all said it about Bamford. I remember I was lucky enough, someone sent me a clip of my first ever appearance on All Leeds TV when Barney was doing an interview, and I said, we will not get promoted with Liam Cooper as our centre-back.
Really? Yep. That's mad, because that's so funny, because you said that, and I said, we will never get promoted with Patrick Bamford as our striker. And that's so interesting, because you became a massive fan of Liam Cooper. I mean, you just defend him to the hill, really. So, that's mad.
Yeah, it is. It's mad than how things change. That's what I mean. Flip-flop. Right. Let's talk about Everton then. What do you make to Everton, mate? Just obviously big upheaval in the summer. Ancelotti going to Real Madrid, Benitez in. I was laughing at their transfer business, actually, bringing in the likes of Townsend and Gray. I think it's madness to go from James Rodriguez, Alan, to then be signing Townsend and Damari Gray. But what do you make to them? We got a good result at the weekend.
Yeah, mate. I think it's the first time that they've not gone out and wanted players instead of like wanting them and wanting the glitz and the glamour. It's the first time Mashiri's really turned round and gone, these are the players we need for the system. These are what we need for the system. And I don't think Everton have ever done that. I can't remember them doing it. Maybe back in Moyes' era. It probably was in Moyes' era. But it's going to be... I'd rather have faced Ancelotti's Everton than Benitez's Everton, which is mad because, you know, you think to yourself, you know, Ancelotti, a decorated manager and all this sort of stuff, but you've got to think Benitez is as well. Done it obviously with Chelsea and Liverpool in the Prem. I just think it's going to be a real defensive game from them. And I think what you're going to get is the balls out wide. If anyone saw Shearer's analysis on Match of the Day, all he was talking about was them getting the balls out to Townsend and Gray and whipping them in for DCL. And obviously DCL scored at Ellen Road, didn't he, in the last game? He was in the box. So it's going to, I think a lot of Leeds fans, this is me being classic me, a lot of Leeds fans that are turning around and thinking, because fans are back, because it's the occasion, it's good at Leeds going to go out and 2-3. I've seen 2-3 nil online, 3-1s, all this stuff. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a tough game. But yeah, mate, I mean, Benitez isn't going to be lying down. They're going to be a tough team to break down. And Joe, listen, Man United were incredible, but Leeds, fundamentally, man for man, we need to improve on what it was last year. It just simply wasn't good enough. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one, mate.
Yeah, it was rubbish, weren't it? It was rubbish last time out against that team from across the Pennines. It was absolutely brutal. It was a tough watch. But like you say, we do need to improve. I think the big thing is although Everton have a great side, they don't have a Pogba and a Bruno Fernandes. I think that's the thing. Them two were unbelievable on that day. Like Pogba got 4 assists. He only got 3 in the whole of last season. So, but I think a lot of that as well, we gave them the game. We might as well have said, there's the ball, play with it, and we'll just try and see if we can tackle it, you know, and take it off you. But you mentioned there, obviously, crosses into the box. Richarlison's good in the air as well. You've got Luca Dean as well, who his delivery is phenomenal. You know what I mean? He's great as well from left back. So it is something we need to be concerned about. Do you look at, obviously, if that's the way he's going to go, do you think we can deal with balls into the box with probably Cooper? And would you say Koch will maybe go in at centre-back if Calvin is fit and ready to come in at DM?
Yeah, you'd imagine it, wouldn't you? I mean, he can't. It's a sacrificial lamb again, isn't it, if he puts him in defensive midfield? I think, and Everton will be targeting that 100%. Yeah. But I don't think Koch's terrible in defensive midfield. I think he's decent, but I think it's difficult when you compare him to Phillips in it, Joe, because Phillips is just world class, and you saw that at the weekend. You know, Koch just couldn't live with Fernandes, but when at Ellen Road, he didn't get a sniff, did he? Well, Calvin had adapted and he learnt his game and he was brilliant. But you know, I'm going off piece. But yeah, in terms of Digne was the one, if you remember, on the left-hand side, who I think within about, I don't know if it was within 10 minutes, bombed on down the left at Ellen Rowe, crossed it in as Sigurdsson, and, you know, just bombed on and got in, and it was 1-0 within about 10 minutes, I think. And then they scored really quickly again. So Leeds are going to have to be on it. But I think it's a big game for Rafinha, to be honest, mate. I thought he was extremely poor against Man United, and his defensive game's got to be on, because I still think you're going to get Benitez encouraging Digne to get forward, because he's a massive threat. He's a winger, isn't he? Essentially a winger. So I think you're going to have a lot of disciplined performances in there, mate. But we need to start quick. Last time out against Everton, we were too slow, and they got. You don't put it this way, Joe. You don't want to be coming up against an Everton team 1 or 2-0 down in 10-15 minutes, do you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not. At least there's no worries of Gylfi Sigurdsson getting a game this weekend. I think I think we can say that's pretty. I think that's a safe bet. Yeah. But where do you see Everton's hopes for the season, mate? For me, top half. Do you see Leeds United competing with Everton over the course of a season for the similar sort of positions, or do Everton push for Europe for you?
Nah, no chance. I think, I say that, but it's Benitez. It's the Benitez factor, isn't it? I mean, his management hasn't been great in the last 2 or 3.
He got Newcastle top half. I think he got them 12th, maybe. Newcastle, they're brutal.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. It's an unbelievable job, that. But I think with Leeds, I think we're going to be there and thereabouts, but I don't think that much better, mate. I said it on the video. I think over the legs last year, if it was a boxing match, that would have been levelled out on points. Obviously, it was 2-2, and I think Leeds would have won it. I think we were 75% of the 2 legs altogether. I think we were the better team. I think, you know, they sort of got the 2 goals and they sat back, didn't they? We were unlucky not to get an equaliser, really. But I see us on par with Everton. I look at their depth, Joe, and I think we talk about Leeds' depth, and I think you get Everton's and it's just deadwood. It's deadwood. You know, it's a woe being it. You know, you look at the likes they've got on the bench. I think there's Gabamin who's never fit, and I think Everton fans are complaining at this moment in time about not having that off the bench. I think that's a problem for a lot of teams, to be honest with you. There's a lot of, even like Villa. There's a lot of people going on about Villa at the minute, but you look at their bench and still you're thinking it's not great. So yeah, I think we're all going to be in a little bit of a pack, to be honest, mate, at the end of the season.
Yeah, I know. I think it wore his pants. I can't believe the amount of
it's atrocious, isn't it?
I think he was about 30 mil as well, right?
Yeah.
But I'd still take him over Helder Costa.
You know what I mean? Going there? Are we going there?
We ain't got enough time, I don't think. I don't think we've got enough time. So, who are you most concerned about from an Everton perspective, mate? Is it DCL up top and then balls coming into him and him winning that battle in the air, or do you look at? I know a lot's been made of Decore. He scored a wonderful goal at the weekend too, but when I've seen him against Leeds in the 2 fixtures, because a lot was made about him prior, I didn't really think he was up to much. I really like Alan, but I think for me, Richarlison's someone we've to be really worried about.
Yeah, you kind of hope he's going to burn out, don't you? He was in the summer, he's in the Olympics, and I don't think he's had a rest. No. It's been unbelievable. So he's going to be knackered at some point in the season. So you hope with Leeds' running, they're going to be able to sort of put him on his arse, really. But I think the big one's going to be DCL, mate. I think cutting the supply. Townsend's just one that a lot of people sort of write him off. I don't massively rate him as a player, but he's getting that ball out of his feet, which he does really well. Yeah. First touch, then whips it every single time. And you just think to yourself, DCL is just a monster in the air. And he's just, I mean, I don't know what his reach is in terms of jumping, but it's unbelievable. I think they highlighted it on Match of the Day last year, but he's some player. So, yeah. And is he gonna lean on Cooper? I don't know. Is that going to be a bit of a strategy? I probably would think that, if Robin is going to be going at the back, because then it's going to be a complete mismatch in it. But yeah, mate, I think stopping the supply to him is going to be absolutely crucial. And Richarlison runs off him a lot as well. We've got to track our men, mate. This man marking system, we just have to be diligent this weekend, because they're a very dangerous team, Everton. Very dangerous team.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned Rafinha earlier. Obviously, he's got to have a great game. Is there anyone else you would look to within this Leeds United side in order for us to get a result? Because I think the worst thing for me, Conor, is I know what the rhetoric will be is if we lose this game at the weekend. I think there's a big possibility we might. I'm confident, but I just can't deal with the rhetoric that will come with it from the media, from large sections of our own fan base, and of course fans of other clubs. That second season syndrome fallacy that'll get thrown out, trust me. But who else needs to have a good game? How do Leeds United get a result in this game for you?
Yeah, I think the the full-backs and Kaelin's going to have a good game. It depends, doesn't it? I don't know if Firpo's going to play. You'd hope he's going to play. It'd be really nice to see him put in a solid performance. I still think the weekend, everyone was sort of like, we didn't get a chance to judge him. One goal came from his side, but I thought he was trying a couple of 1-2s going forward. I thought he looked decent on the ball. Like, I didn't really. I think Leeds fans were just criticising everyone at the weekend, which I can understand. It was a humbling game, but yeah, I'd say the wing backs, mate. I think that defensive midfielder, once again, we've got to have a good showing from. I can see Calvin really dictating this game. Do you remember him at Goodison? He was unplayable. It was his best game of the season for me. Probably that Man United.
Is that the Rafinha goal?
Yeah. And he was Calvin was but they couldn't deal with him. And I think if he has that standard of performance again, hopefully, then Leeds will be okay. He just dictates the tempo, Joe. I felt like at the weekend, Robin just doesn't naturally show as a CDM. He doesn't go drop deep to get the ball on the back foot and move it quickly, 1 touch, 2 touch. And you're naturally not going to get that from a centre-back. When Strout was in there, he couldn't really do that. But Calvin's just got that natural understanding in that position. So I think he's pivotal, mate, in the wing-backs. And obviously, hopefully, mate, we'll have that Varane effect after what's happened with Patrick Bamford. He's got offered he's been given a contract 5 years. Hopefully, that's going to be that lift-off factor that Ellen Road needs to really sort of, spur him on. But I'm hoping Patrick, I think he needs to hit the ground running as well, because believe it or not, I've still seen people on Twitter saying that in front of crowds, Paddy's not going to be the same player. So, but I don't know if that's, I don't really read into that.
Mate, because you'll remember, like, I got so frustrated when he gave it all this in the ground because I never heard it in the ground from fans getting on his back. It was more so on social media. Admittedly, we went to Preston in the warm-up prior. He was getting boos and hisses. Do you remember when he was missing them? And then
oh god, yeah, that was bad, wasn't
he
it?
scored that beautiful finish with his left foot. Yeah, yeah. And I was fuming because I was like, "No, you do not have a right to do that." I think one of the games as well, it had like hit off his knee and he was claiming it, going like this. So I was a bit like, I'm not sure. I think I'd have finished that one, Pat, to be honest.
Chris Wood effect is the Chris Wood effect, wasn't it? Wood did that to us before, didn't he?
I hope you're right with the Patrick situation. Maybe we just get him to come out in a suit before like Varane and just give it. I'm here for seeable.
Imagine what we'll do is we'll bring out Lewis O'Brien as the latest signing, and Ellen Road will erupt.
Yeah, it's not having the same desired effect, is it? You'd have some who's that? Get him off, man.
Has he won a prize or something? Who's that?
Yeah, definitely. That's great. So do you think Calvin starts then? Because I've seen people still question it because of what Bielsa said. He's almost ready in the presser, etc. He has to start, doesn't he? Because if Cox starts, I feel really bad doing it, but it's just not at the same level. And I think square pegs in round holes. That's our issue at Leeds. There's not enough depth and quality.
No, I mean, yeah, mate, we could have an entirely different show on the depth and quality, couldn't we? But I think, 100%, mate. He's not, when you've seen Cock in there before, he's not, as I've just said, he's not a natural defensive midfielder. And yeah, he's fine. A lot of people always keep saying he's fine, but in the Premier League, you can't just be fine. You've got to be good at what you do, especially with the amount of attacking midfielders that are just world class. You know, and Everton have got a number, you know, I don't know who's going to be playing in that role, to be honest, for Everton, because it looks like James Rodriguez has sort of been ostracised from the squad. I know he didn't get along with Benitez in Spain, but yeah, mate, it's absolutely huge. But I think Calvin does start. I think he does start. I think I disagreed with Bielsa massively when he came out at the weekend. It was a bit frustrating, to be honest, when he came out at the weekend and said Cott was great. He was, you know, did everything really, really well. And it's like, he just didn't, Marcelo. Like, we're all watching the game. He did not, like. So yeah, I think he would potentially struggle against Everton in there as well, mate, to be honest. I think, as I said at the start, they're going to target him. But I think overall, Calvin will start, and I think he'll have a good performance. When he comes back, I always think with Calvin, it doesn't take him 2 or 3. I think with Bill, I think it takes him 2 or 3 games to get into it early. But I think when Calvin, he's that fit, he just sticks back in there and puts in always a brilliant performance.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, mate, in terms of what Bielsa said at the weekend as well. I think it was the first time ever I have properly disagreed with him in everything that he said, because he said we were better than the 6-2. No, we weren't.
We were not.
No. And what frustrated me about the Cock praise, he was committed. It felt like he was saying he had a go. They're there. Well done. You tried. That's what it felt like to me. And I was a bit like, that's not enough. We need more than that. That was just my opinion, and I said so on the final word. It was a little bit frustrating for me because I was like, no, I just didn't agree with that. Okay, XG or whatever, but from what I seen,
I know
it's nothing like that.
It's like we're not analysts. We're not analysis. Sorry, are we? We're not stats guys. And the stats guys do a great job in breaking games down and counter attacks and all this sort of stuff and defensive and attacking play. But I always think there is something to be given for being at a ground or whatever. If you can't get to the ground, watch it on the TV and looking at it with the naked eye and just saying, no, that wasn't right. That wasn't right. I don't need anything to back it up stats wise or anything like that. That's not right. I can see that. I've played football. I know football. That, you know, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? But yeah, mate, I think it's going to be a good performance this weekend. I'm confident, but yeah, I think taking Everton lightly, yeah, we shouldn't be doing that at all. But yeah, it's some of his comments. Some of his comments at the weekend were how we were better. I've no idea how we were better. The first game we had 17 shots, and we had spells, didn't we? In the first game, I thought we were the better team for maybe 2 or 3 spells in that game last weekend. We're just battered.
Shocking, absolutely shocking. I think there's a case of, I don't know if someone made this point on Twitter, but when Ayling scored that goal, it was amazing. But I remember him when he did that nutmeg on Manny, and he said he turned to the bench and went, "Tyler, did you see that?" Well, after he scored that game at Old Trafford, I don't know if you've seen it, it cut to him, and the game had started, and he was still giving it this to the bench. And I think there was a whole There was still a bit of that where they were, I don't know, we've scored at Old Trafford, man. It's 1-0 crowd. I don't know. They just went to bits, didn't they?
I don't know about you as well. I thought that was the kick up the arse they needed. It's like Ayling scored, and then it was like, mate, it was like gear change. It was like they went from first to 5, and it was like, oh my God. And
I think we were 4-1 down 12 minutes later, which is
incredible.
Like
it's incredible that, isn't it? 12 minutes.
Yeah, it is.
That's why it's good talking about it, mate, though, because it gets it out of the system, doesn't it?
It does. That's what I mean. I've had the luxury of being able to do that now loads of times. That's the great thing. Otherwise, you just stay sore and you sit angry at home, not talking to the missus or whatever. You know what I mean? Leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm still doing that, but yeah.
Who's your lineup then, Conor, for the weekend? Who are you going with?
I'd go Meslier in net. This is probably a bit controversial, actually. Meslier in net. Cody, no, I'm joking. Ayling right back. Centre halves, I'd go. Yeah, I'd agree with you, Joe. I'd go Cock and Coops. Left back, Firpo. I think he's going to start. Set defensive midfield, obviously it's going to be a 4-1-4-1, you presume. Calvin, right side, Rafa. Middle. Now, I'd only go with this because I think his pre-season's been a little bit better, and I want us to be defensively resolute in that middle. A lot of people will maybe turn around and say, well, he doesn't offer that much going forward, but I think against Man United going forward, he was one of the better players. He had a decent shot, which was saved. He was trying to play some nice, intricate passes to the wingers as well. I'd go with Click, so I'd go with Click and Dallas in the middle. Harrison on the left, and then I'd go with Bamford up front. Joe, I cannot get on board with Rodrigo in this central midfield. Right, I can't get on board with it, mate, at all. As a striker, excellent. I love him. Burnley, I think he was there for Southampton last year when he came on, didn't he? And he was brilliant. Love him as a striker, but I just can't get on board with him in central midfield.
Yeah, it's mad because, you mentioned earlier on just analytic guys and stats guys, and all stats aren't we had said for quite some time that, it felt like an opportunity arose for Leeds that was too good to turn down. There's Spain's number 9 at the time. He's available at a cut down price. Can we really turn this opportunity down? No, we can't. Let's take him. And on reflection, you think, does he actually fit? Does it actually work? I want it to. I'm not saying we know he's a great player. Technically, I remember times last season when the ball would go into him when we're not under the cosh, and he'd drop a shoulder, bam, Rafinha would be in, and you can just see he's got that little bit extra. Yeah. But when we're having to defend and all that sort, it just goes missing, and it is a bit of a conundrum in it at the minute what we actually do with Rodrigo, because I agree with you. I think Click looked towards the back end of the season and in pre-season, and for me, for about 15 minutes in that. That's what I mean. I didn't understand when people were giving him stick because he was basically the midfield on his own. You had Cock at this side, Rodrigo there, and him in the middle, and he did it all. And like people were saying, "Oh, he's not good." Blah blah blah.
We're talking about. We're talking about the Brownhill. It's been on the rumours and all this sort of stuff. Brownhill's just someone who I think KP's that aggressive midfielder, but I think we need another one in there. Someone with a little bit of bite in there who can play as well, a little bit tenacious and determined. I'm not saying the boys aren't determined in there, but I just think sometimes we're a bit soft in the midfield. And I think, against Man United and sometimes against teams when they're breaking through the middle, it's just too easy. And I think maybe Rodrigo and Click together, they just do not complement each other well at all, do they?
And it's clear, and I'll mention him, and I get stick for mentioning him in every single video that I do, but Conor Gallagher, Josh Brownhill, Lewis O'Brien, they're all of the same ilk, man. They're in there, getting busy, doing the dirty work, being able to play anywhere really across that middle of the park, I think it's really, and I don't know, just to get your thoughts on it, for me, it really stung that he chose Palace. I thought he would have been perfect in this Leeds United side, even from when he was at Charlton Athletic on loan, then he went to Swansea. I really rate him, man. What are your thoughts? I get stick for it, you see, because I mention him in every video.
Quality. I mean, he was the number one. He was the number one target. Yeah. There's no bones about it. He was the number one target, and he's the number one target for a reason. He's big. I mean, mate, at Swansea when we'd play him, along with Ayew, he was the best player on the pitch. He was in Charlton. I remember those couple of battles we had with Charlton down at the Valley when we lost 2-1. He was the best player on the pitch. Yeah. So, he's clearly a quality player. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because I think it'd have been a Ben White saga once again, where he'd have gone back and it'd have been even worse because it's Chelsea and we'd have gone up levels in his game.
Yeah, probably. Probably they'd have wanted 50, 60 million for him or something like that, wouldn't they?
We'd have added 20 mil to his price tag, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely. That goes without saying. I do agree completely with your lineup as well, to be honest. But I do think, from Bielsa's standpoint, he probably will have Rodrigo in there. I do think he will. I think he'll persist with that. Whether you agree or disagree, I just think he's going to persist with it. I can't see him dropping it. But then he hooked him at half time, so maybe I'm wrong, but I think he will persist. Just before we go, mate, let's get a score prediction for you from you. Sorry.
3-1 Leeds for me the
3.
weekend. 3-1 Leeds, yeah. I think we'll get on them early, and I think we'll, it'll be a good performance. I think Calvin coming back, it'll be a boost at Ellen Road, and I'm going to go Costa hat-trick, I think.
I was going to ask you for your goal scorer as well. Go on, give us your goal scorer.
No,
him.
No,
in an ideal scenario, he don't get on the pitch. I feel bad, but it's Somerville, innit? Get Somerville on, man.
Definitely. I'll go, I reckon Paddy 2 and Harrison. What about you?
So mine's 2-0. I'm taking confidence from the fact that last time we were beaten 6-2 by Manchester United, we went and won the next 2 and didn't concede any goals. We very rarely were beaten like in consecutive games last season. I know it's a brand new season. If that did happen, then I would start thinking, oh God, Burnley, and then, oh man, we're going into international break with 0 points. What's going on? I can't deal with it, man. It might be a very, very different season for our content this season. We might get a different viewpoint. Because it's been so positive, hasn't it, really? I'm not saying it's going to be negative, but I think a lot of the fans will maybe be a little bit disappointed this season as opposed to, and they shouldn't be, but I think the way we ended it and what's there if we were to invest, it could be totally different, but it's all about consolidation. But yeah, I've just gone off on a tangent there. 2-0, mate. I'm going to go for a Patrick Bamford brace, signing that deal, like you said. And hopefully your bags, man, in a full Ellen Road. I'm getting Derby County semi-final vibes. What that atmosphere was like.
Do you know what? What? Like I was thinking, should I mention it? But then I'm going to mention it now. You're but in the Championship, everything you said was like, nah, positive. But this, I don't know what's going on at the minute. You seem to be questioning it a little bit.
Well, mate, I was always positive because we were fine. But I think I'm just trying to temper expectation because I think there's a lot of fans, not that I have any impact whatsoever, but I think they are expecting Europe. Maybe the windows made people think, okay, maybe second guess it a little bit. But
how I'd describe it is the top, our starting 11, I reckon, is definitely top 10. Yeah. Our bench, I think, you look at Watford, they brought on this lad called Cuco Hernandez at the weekend, got the ball, smacked it in the top corner, was brilliant for 20 minutes. I don't know if Tyler Roberts and Helder Costa get in any other Premier League side, even on the bench. I'll put that out there, which, I'm probably going to get dogs abuse for it, but that's what I mean. It's I think on the pitch, top 10. Off the pitch, it's a different game, which is why I went for the 13th at the start of the season, because I think it's just going to level itself out.
I've said that, like 30 between 8th and 13th, and 8th being proper positive. I think anywhere around there would be good between 8th and 13th, and I think that's where we'll end up. 8th being very optimistic at this moment in time, but I think as well, people don't realise maybe that the Premier League has improved so much. You just look at the teams above us, the business that they've done, those around us. Villa, I mean, they've gone mad. Everton.
Fans will make an impact, Joe. Obviously, you're there week in, week out. Do you think fans is going to make a big impact?
I would imagine so. I think, I think it can only be a positive at Ellen Road. Maybe if things aren't going well, I'm not so sure. Like if we conceded early doors like we did against Leicester or Palace, I don't know if they were at Ellen Road, then it's a different kettle of fish. But I think as long as Beelzebub's been playing at that high intensity passing, it's going to be amazing, mate. It will. Yeah. And getting to see Rafinha, I think a player like Rafinha, Conor, will feed on that. Yeah, he will. Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine what he did to Gary Cahill if fans are in the ground? He's saying, give me that ball because he's getting it again. He's getting it again. Do you know what I mean? No, he'd be like, you just grow. he'd be like, "Give me the ball because I'm flying." Rafinha gives me that kind of vibe, you know.
Yeah, I just think we want to see a performance, don't we, Joe? After last week, you know, we just want to see some of that Bielsa ball. And we're all back. We just want to see it and not. And I don't think we will, but you know, as you say, it's the expectation thing. But I don't think it will be a negative experience. I think it'll be a positive experience at the weekend. But we just want to see it now, don't we? And I think that's only going to be positive.
Thanks again for coming on, Conor. Everyone knows about the One Leeds. Tell everyone about the Blue, White, and Yellow podcast, mate.
Yeah, just the podcast that we do for work. Obviously, I work for Leeds United Live, so go check it out. A nice little podcast to add to the 54 million podcasts out there to do with Leeds United. But yeah, check it out. Beren Cross, Joe Donoghue as well. So you got your Leeds United writers there, the inside scoop. So check it out. One Leeds. Yeah, there you go. Check One Leeds out if you fancy.
Smashing it out of the park, innit? I will put both links to both channel and podcast. He's a jack of all trades. So I'll put.
We have to do this again, aren't we? We're gonna have to do this again.
Yeah.
I could talk with Joe for about 3 hours. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe 50 minutes has gone.
I know, yeah. We'll do it, man. We'll make it a regular thing. I would love that. But thank you, as always, everyone, for watching. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell. I'll be at the game on Saturday, like I say, so I'll be doing a bit of a match day vloggy experience-y kind of thing, so make sure you look out for that. And yeah, check out Conor and all these channels, and I'll see you in a bit now. Peace out. Leeds.